You really thought this party was about you? Those words landed harder than the slap that followed. 1 second, I was standing in a room full of people who came to celebrate me. The next, the sound of his hand across my face cut through every conversation, every clinking glass, every laugh. Someone gasped. A chair scraped back, and my brother leaned in close enough that I could smell the whiskey on his breath, and whispered, "Know your place." I didn't scream. I didn't cry. I didn't even flinch after the first few seconds.
I need some air.
I just lifted my eyes to the small black camera mounted in the corner of the restaurant ceiling, and I made a quiet, firm, permanent decision. My name is Emily Carter. I'm 38 years old. I work as an operations manager at a mid-sized logistics company. It's not the kind of job that turns heads at family dinners, but it pays well, it demands precision, and I'm good at it. Better than good. I've built a life on being steady, on showing up, on following through when everyone else bails. Growing up, my older brother Daniel was the one everyone celebrated. He played 3 sports. He filled every room with noise. My parents lit up when he walked in, and I learned early that my job was to clap from the sidelines. I was the responsible one, the quiet one, the one who cleaned up messes that weren't hers and smiled through dinners that felt more like performances than family. I paid for half of my own birthday dinner that night because I refused to give anyone a reason to whisper about what I could or couldn't afford. That was me. Always 10 steps ahead. Always managing the optics. Always making sure no one could use anything against me. And still, it wasn't enough. If you've ever been the sibling who handles everything and gets credit for nothing, I want you to know I see you. Subscribe if that sentence just hit somewhere real. Drop your story in the comments because I genuinely want to read it. And if you've ever been underestimated by the people who were supposed to be in your corner, click hype. Let's get into this. The party was supposed to be a milestone. I rented a private hall inside a restaurant I'd been saving toward for months. I made the guest list, confirmed dietary restrictions, coordinated with the staff, arranged the seating. I did all of it, the way I always do all of it. Daniel showed up 40 minutes late with a scowl already settled on his face. Within 10 minutes, he was complaining about the seating chart. His ex-wife had been placed 2 tables away, which was actually a generous distance given their history. But to him, it was an attack, a calculated insult. He said it loud enough for half the room to hear. "You did this on purpose." I kept my voice low. "Daniel, it's my birthday, please." He didn't lower his. He announced to the table, to the room, that my job title was just a fancy way of saying I scheduled trucks. He laughed at his own joke. A few people shifted uncomfortably. My coworkers were sitting right there. I felt the heat rise in my face, and I breathed through it. I reminded him, calmly, that he had ignored every single planning message in the group chat. He said I had excluded him. He said I had always tried to make him look small. And then, somehow, the argument twisted until he was telling extended family members that I had embarrassed everyone by not marrying up, as though my life choices were something he had a right to grade in public. Then he slapped me. Sharp, sudden, open-handed across my left cheek. The room stopped. Glasses stayed midair. My mother's voice came in almost immediately, hushed and urgent. "Don't make a scene." The restaurant manager appeared. He mentioned the security cameras. "Standard procedure," he said. "He just wanted us to know." Daniel smirked. He rolled his shoulders back and said, "There's nothing to see." I didn't correct him in that moment. I just noted the camera angle, noted the audio equipment near the bar, and filed it all away in the part of my brain that never stops working. There was everything to see, and I already knew I was going to see it. What came after the slap was almost worse than the slap itself. My parents pulled me aside and told me Daniel had been stressed lately. Stressed. As though stress was a hall pass for assault. He sent me a text the next morning. 2 lines, no apology. "You provoked me. You know what you did." That was it. By that afternoon, he had already told 3 relatives his version, which apparently involved me starting the confrontation and him simply reacting to protect his dignity. A cousin called to ask why I was causing drama. Someone else said they hoped I wasn't going to blow this up. Then came the social media post. Vague enough to avoid specifics. Pointed enough that anyone who knew us understood exactly who it was about. Words like unstable and attention-seeking floated in the subtext. One of my colleagues mentioned it to me at work with an awkward look, asking if everything was okay at home. And then Daniel contacted me about money. He said my poor planning had ruined his evening. He said I owed him for the stress I had caused. And buried in the middle of a longer message was the real ask. He told me it would be best for the family if I dropped any request for the security footage. For the family's sake. That phrase, for the family's sake, had been used to silence me my entire life. I read the message twice. Then I took a screenshot. Then I kept going. Here is what none of them knew. I had requested the full CCTV recording from the restaurant manager the same night of the party, before I even got home. I work in logistics. I deal with documentation, timelines, and evidence chains every single day. I knew exactly what to ask for and exactly how to ask for it. I requested footage from multiple camera angles, including the one near the bar with the audio pickup. I also had every text Daniel sent after the incident saved with timestamps. And 2 days after the party, he called me from a number I didn't recognize, thinking I wouldn't pick up. I did pick up. I let him talk. He said, and I quote, "You made me lose control." I had my phone on record. They thought silence meant I had accepted it. They thought composed meant defeated. They didn't understand that I was doing what I do professionally every single day. I was building a case. Not for revenge. I don't need revenge. I needed the truth to exist somewhere outside my own memory, somewhere no one could rewrite it. I called Mr. Henderson on a Wednesday afternoon. He had been our late grandfather's lawyer for decades, the kind of man who spoke slowly because he never needed to rush. He had always been fair, even in family situations where fairness was inconvenient for everyone else. I sat across from him and laid it all out. The footage request, the messages, the voicemail. I watched his expression shift from polite attention to something harder and more serious. He told me that physical assault is not a family matter. He said it plainly, without drama. It's not a disagreement. It's not a dynamic. It's a legal matter. Meanwhile, Daniel was performing confidence at every family gathering. My parents were still lobbying me to let it go before it tore everything apart. He told people at a Sunday dinner that I knew better than to push things further. He sounded certain. He had spent his whole life being certain and being right and being protected. Mr. Henderson prepared a formal legal notice. He scheduled a mandatory meeting at his office and extended the invitation to the family. Mandatory was his word, not mine. The day of the meeting, the air in that office felt different. Tight. Formal. The room smelled like old paper and something metallic, like tension had a physical presence in the ventilation. Daniel came in loose, almost amused, the way people look when they believe they've already won. He looked around and said, "Are we really here over a tiny slap?" Mr. Henderson didn't answer that. He dimmed the lights. He pulled up the footage on a large wall-mounted screen. There was no narration, no commentary, just the video. It showed Daniel arriving late, visibly agitated. It showed him approach me. It showed the argument escalate entirely from his end. And it showed, with complete clarity, the moment his hand connected with my face. The audio from the bar camera picked up his voice in the seconds after. "Know your place." Clear as anything. My mother covered her mouth with both hands. My father looked at the floor and didn't look up for a long time. Then Mr. Henderson played the voicemail. Daniel's own voice filled the room. "You made me lose control." Daniel stood up. "That's private." Mr. Henderson said, "Assault is not private." He outlined the legal framework. He explained what a formal incident report would accomplish, what a restraining order would look like, what pressing charges could mean. He was not emotional about it. He just laid out the facts, one by one, like stones forming a path. Daniel sat back down. And for the first time in my entire life, I watched him look small. Not embarrassed. Not sorry, not yet. Just small. the size he had always actually been, without the noise. I didn't raise my voice. I didn't need to. I looked at him and said, "I won't be your target anymore." 7 words. I had been saving them for the right moment, and that was it. I chose not to pursue criminal charges. That was my decision, made clearly, without pressure in either direction. But I filed a formal incident report. I established a no-contact boundary, meaning any future communication had to be written, documented, and go through proper channels. Some relatives pulled back after that. A few of them sent quiet messages, not long ones, just a line or two acknowledging that they were sorry for what I went through. That mattered more than they probably realized. Daniel's standing in the extended family shifted. The truth had circulated, and the truth has a way of being stickier than the stories people tell to protect themselves. I stopped attending gatherings where my presence wasn't genuinely welcomed, not out of bitterness, but out of self-respect. I started therapy. I started investing energy into relationships that didn't cost me pieces of myself to maintain. For the first time, being quiet didn't feel like swallowing something. It felt like standing on solid ground. I didn't need to win a fight. I didn't need an apology, though I deserved one. I just needed the truth to exist somewhere it couldn't be edited or deleted or whispered away. And it did. If someone has humiliated you in front of others and assumed you would absorb it in silence, I want you to know that patience is not the same as permission. You are allowed to document. You are allowed to act. You are allowed to stop protecting people who never protected you. Share your story in the comments. Tell me what happened, and tell me how you handled it, or how you wish you had. Subscribe if you believe respect is not something you earn by staying quiet. Click hype to help this reach someone who needs to hear it tonight. And if you made it all the way here, thank you. That means something.